Today we are joined by Zabih Etemadi, who is also the brother of Agila Etemadi, which we had an absolute pleasure of interviewing a few weeks ago. Zabih Etemadi is an agent, sports lawyer, and even has a license UFB for coaching in the Netherlands. He's been living here for the past 22 years. And I just want to thank him for coming on Gold Bazan. How you doing, Zabih?
I'm fine, thank you, Pasha. Thank you for having me over. I would like to say hi to all the listeners of Gold Bazan, and of course a warm hello to all the Iranians all over the world.
I appreciate you coming on, my friend, and it'll be an absolute pleasure to discuss about your career and this is interesting stuff that you've done in the past and doing now. My first question to you is, how did you get into this business? Because it's very hard to get into, especially considering being a football agent and considering that you're a lawyer also. And even as you were used to be a former player for FC Groningen, how did that play out for you?
Yeah, that's a good question, Pasha. When I moved to Holland 22 years ago with my parents, I started to play football as every other kids love to become a professional football player in a small village in Holland called Grauw, and I was scouted by Heerenveen. I played professionally for Heerenveen for under 17 and under 19 Premier League here in Holland. And after that, I moved to Cambuur Leeuwarden, where I played for 3 years at the professional level. And from Cambuur, I moved to the Premier League Holland with FC Groningen. I was 23 years old when I moved to FC Groningen, and in that season I got a knee injury. I had torn ligaments, and I had 2 knee surgeries, and I had to decide. It was a tough decision, but I had to decide to stop playing professional football, and I went to studying law. And in 2009, I finished my law study. And what I discovered is to have success, you must work in a different way than the others do. You have to be unique in what you do. So I decided to combine both backgrounds as a former professional football player and my legal background. I combined those 2 worlds, and therefore I became a football lawyer together with a corporate lawyer. And I gained my FIFA license in 2012 and started to work in the football industry. And because of my football background, I knew a lot of people in the world of football, especially in Holland, because I played myself at the professional level. And also because Reza Bouchanejad and my brother Agila Etemadi, they played in Holland, so we were well known, and that helped me a lot.
Right, definitely. I'll talk to you about Reza, because I have a massive respect for him for what he's done for our country in a little bit. But considering that you're also a lawyer and right now you got your coaching license, do you consider yourself as a full-time agent?
Yes, I am. I also have my own law firm here in Amsterdam, and in my law firm I practice football law as well. I have a football desk. I advise, and where needed, I have legal procedures with the FIFA in favor of players or coaches. And besides that, I own a football management and sports management agency called Sport Life Management, and I work full time as a football agent. Yes.
And do you represent usually Dutch players, or are they Iranians?
No, most of the players we represent are European players. The only Iranian player I represent is Agila Etemadi, is my brother. He's a goalkeeper of Almere City.
Right.
But I would like to represent some Iranian players in the near future.
Speaking about Iranian players, I know there's a lot of obstacles to bring them to the country because of work permits issues and just the idea of them, because Iranians are usually close to their families and stuff, and it's hard for them to leave Iran for whatever personal issues. Has there ever been an obstacle for you to bring an Iranian to Europe that you wanted to, but it never happened?
Yes. one of the main obstacles for Iranian players is the obligatory of military services that we have in Iran. That makes for the young players very difficult to move at the young stage to Europe. And as you know, the world of football has changed in the past few years. The football became much younger. That means that the clubs invest more in young players because of investing in young players, they can make them develop and sell them for a better price. The football industry has become a commercial industry, and we have the other obstacle is a lack of experience for the Iranian players who played for several years in Iran. That makes it very difficult to compete with young European players or young Brazilian or South American players who come here at a young age. So that's those two are very big obstacles for Iranian players, as well as the Iranian football is not that known in Europe. Of course, for the last World Cup in Brazil, we had played very fair. It wasn't like our best performance, but we did. How do you say? Not very good, but it was fair. It was a fair performance.
Yeah, it was decent.
Decent, exactly. Yeah. And that's because now some Iranian players are better known, but unfortunately, after the World Cup, most Iranians who played in Europe, they moved to Middle East. So that's not in favor of the Iranian football.
You know, it's interesting because, I remember when Reza Guchanaj was getting linked highly to come to Team Melli, but he hasn't been to the country for a long time before moving to Iran. And I know you're a close friend of him. How do you see his career now being part of Team Melli and that vital goal he scored against South Korea that got us to the World Cup? And knowing him personally and stuff, how does that role play into him? Are Iranians that live outside the country, like in Netherlands or elsewhere, are they motivated to come back and play for their country like Reza Guchanaj was?
Yes, of course. I know from my own time, I used to play. One of the biggest dream of mine was to play for the Team Melli, and it was always the dream of Reza and for Aril, my brother as well, to play for the Team Melli. It's a big honor to play for your country. I think the decision for Reza to play for Team Melli has changed his life. Look at him now. He can't walk as a normal person in Iran. Everywhere he goes, people are yelling his name, and that's fantastic. And he has performed very good for the Team Melli as well, and that's a big honor for him as well to do so.
Has he spoken about his life now outside playing in the Middle East for his new club?
Well, he's still on the contract with Charlton Athletic, so he's now back in London.
Right.
Before he went back to London, he visited me in Amsterdam for one night. We had a little chat. But when we see each other, we talk more about regular things more than about his football career, just to catch up, because nowadays we don't see each other that much anymore. But he's doing well, and he will make a good decision for his next step very soon, I guess. But he's at this moment under contract with Charlton Athletic, and we'll see what's gonna happen.
One thing that I always ask everyone in interviews, especially foreign investors or whoever, agents, football players that we interview, I'm going to ask you this question, Zabih. What do you think about Carlos Queiroz as our manager, and what has he done for Team Melli that has inspired you, and you think that was the right path for our country?
Well, he qualified with Iran for the World Cup. That's a big step for our country, because we are a big country in Asia, but it's not that normal for us to qualify for the World Cup, seeing our history. We should actually, with the potential we have in Iran. We have very good technical players.
Mm-hmm.
What we need is someone who brings some tactical added value to our game. I think Carlos Queiroz has done a pretty good job for Team Medley, and the stories I heard from the players of Team Medley that they are very, very satisfied with his work. But for my own opinion, with Portuguese coaches, they always play a defensive game. I think in our country we have a lot of potential to play more offensive, as we have very good offensive players as well. The most valued player with Team Medley are attackers.
Right.
Sado Osman is very upcoming. We have, of course, Alireza Jahanbakhsh. We have Reza, who's a very good striker. So I think if we can put some more offensive tactics in Team Medley, and of course also start. It all starts with the league, with the clubs, to gain experience from the players who they sign. We should. I think the Iranian football should become more professional, and it all starts in the organization, I think. And whenever we are ready for that, to make some changes in the organization of the football clubs, I think we can become number one in Asia and compete with the rest of the world, because we have a lot of good players in Iran.
Yeah, that's one of the key things that Carlos Queiroz is trying to do. Also recruiting foreign Iranian players from abroad to bring to the country to bring that European kind of style of game to our game. Before I wrap this up, Zabih, I'm studying law too. I'm trying to get into law school and stuff, and I always wanted to get into the football industry and stuff. If folks that are hearing about this, either they want to become a lawyer, sports lawyer, licensed coach, or even a football agent, what is your key message to them? That if they're doubting themselves to ever get into this line of field?
I think you should. It all starts with ambition. What I did is combine those two worlds which I love the most, and I work 24/7. And if you love what you're doing, I think it would be easier for you to achieve your goal. And you must have focus as well. You cannot. What I've done after stopping with professional football, I've done several things. But when you become older, you experience that you must have a focus to achieve the goal you want and to compete at the highest level with the rest. So focus and ambition, and always try to be unique. Always try to be innovative in what you do. That's the thing, I think.
I really appreciate you telling me about your insights, being a former player, the career that you've done, going upwards and onwards. I really appreciate you coming on Gol Bezan, Zabih Etemadi. I also had the pleasure of talking to your brother, and both of you are very ambitious, and I wish you guys the best, and an absolute pleasure thank you for coming on Gol Bezan.
Thank you very much, Pasha, for having me over, and good luck with Gol Bezan, and we'll keep in touch.
Thank you, definitely. Appreciate it, my friend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.